Mr. Mr. President, could I? Mi- 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 Could Sorry, Joe. It's just me and it's Rick Shintaku. I'll just start off and then you can fill in the blanks there. Mr. Gardner has an intriguing comment, but I, I just want to remind that when you're calculating water loss, it's all proportionate. So it's basically your water sales divided by your water into your system, and you take the number one minus that ratio, and you have a water loss. So it actually is equivalent when you're talking about different lengths of pipe because it comes down to a percentage water loss. In theory, there might be some subtle differences there, but I've worked for larger districts and smaller districts, and nothing in that I can find would be a substantial change from a large or a larger number of miles of pipe versus a smaller when you're talking about this metric because it is on a proportionate scale from percentage. Joe, I don't know if you want to add anything more to that. Thank you. Over. Mr. Oh, oh, thank you, Mr. President. We don't have any. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. President. I just want to thank the staff here at the district. We put this mid-year budget together quite quickly due to implementing the new software. They all did a fabulous job, and considering we were kind of in the process of wondering what was going to happen with our schedules due to the COVID-19 situation. So again, much thanks to what they the work they put into it and the speed that they put into it. Over.
Sure. Sure. Thank you, Mr. President. Yeah. So, on March 13th, we were confronted with this COVID-19 situation escalating to the point where you see school districts closing during that point in time. So, actually, on the weekend, I asked staff to work with me and come up with schedules, split schedules, and I thought that would be in the best interest for us. And what we developed was Group A, who would work in the office the first half of the week, and they would work at home the second half of the week, and Group B, who would work at home the first half of the week and in the office the second half of the week. And what we implemented was a one-team approach, where whether you worked in the office or in the field, you had those schedules. So we were all doing it, and we split it up so that the district could run with the capabilities, or even capabilities, if you will, on both sides, Group A and Group B. And there's no connotation with A and B. I'm part of B, so it was just meant to split up the week there. We saw, as the week progressed, that a number of other districts and cities not only were talking about split schedules, but they talked about closing their offices to the public for walk-ins, not for call-ins or online requests, but for walk-ins. And that was a really tough decision for us. There's nothing better than we like to have as a communication with the public. But we made that tough choice as we saw other cities closing the doors and making sure that we could maintain social distancing to keep the spread at a minimum. So as the week progressed, on March 19th, the governor, as most of you know, issued the executive order directing all residents to stay home and except to maintain the continuity of operations of essential critical infrastructure sectors and additional critical sectors. And that was on March 19th, last Thursday. On March 20th, the state public health officer designated the following list of, I shouldn't say the following, designated a list of essential critical infrastructure workers. And it was a detailed list that included our industry, water and wastewater industry, along with healthcare, public health, emergency services, etc. And the vast majority of our operations staff, pretty much all of our operations staff, IT staff, construction inspectors, and EHS staff were part of that to ensure that they were taking care of our systems statewide. In response, we started working on the next steps and how do we further if you will, contingency plan moving forward. So I'll tell you, we stuck with the Group A, Group B schedules for those who were defined in that memo, the state public health memo, and we gave the office staff a voluntary schedule. So basically, the 100% work at home, but if you want, you can come in as well. So I can tell you the dedication of our operations staff is just incredible, and the office staff to this district's customers and the infrastructure. In fact, my biggest problem to date is trying to chase them home. So I'm hearing daily proposals on how to work more in the office, but we have to stick to these schedules and work in the field as well. And I call these folks, fondly, the modern day heroes. These guys and girls, all of us here at the district who and especially the operations folks that are out there, when people are directed to stay home and staying home, these guys are going out there and maintaining the water and sewer systems. And it's just incredible to see the dedication day in and day out. But at the same time, we have to balance and do contingency planning so we can keep this functional throughout the duration of this virus. So very tough situation. We're trying to do our best. We're definitely compassionate with the customers. We know that there's a lot of financial strain out there, so we're looking for areas that we can help out. One of the messages I do want to get out to the customers is toilet paper. And I know it's so tough to come by, but please don't flush any what's called flushable wipes in the store and anything else, because that is going to contribute to blocking your system and ours and major problems in the future. So I would like to make that public plea out there. And in general, thank you for the public for your patience with us during this time. We'll do our best. And if you also have financial hardships, please reach out to us. We're willing to work with you in terms of payments, et cetera, and we're definitely not going to shut you off. So that would conclude that part of my report. If there's any questions for me, I'll take that now. But I also had one more item for GM comments. Thank you very much. So I'll cover one more item that I probably should have made a comment during the water loss audit presentation. But when I came to the district in 2015, the district's water loss figure was so low that it was about 3 to 4 times less than what I was used to seeing at other organizations. So low that I actually didn't believe it at first. And then we aggressively went through an audit process, and I got to give Hal Hilton, Greg Pennington, Joe McDivitt a lot of credit because they became experts in that field. And we aggressively pursued state audits. And let me give a couple other folks credit too: Cassandra Garcia and all of customer service, engineering, and finance. We work collectively to track the water losses here. We were proactive in getting the state audits and proactive in leak locating. But again, one of the main heroes in this is our water operations group. It's not just in the past years. I'm sure it's in the past decades that they implemented field-initiated rehab and replacement capital projects that made sense because they knew about the system. They were highly educated, and this is the result of all of that hard work. So I'm very proud that we can say that we're in the top. We're one of the leaders in water losses throughout the state, and I'm very proud to state that. And it's due to the good work of the staff. And like I said, it's not only the last few years, it's probably over a few decades. So thank you very much. That would conclude my comments. Thanks. Over.